make it an equal share. And until you give it him back, there'll be no peace.
All right. We're in the house. Once again, it's Sunday. Hopefully you guys are having a good day so far. It's a little cloudy outside, a little chilly, so definitely fall has started to set in and do its thing. We're here once again with the Sunday Spotlight, brought to you by the One More, One Less mentoring program. I'm your host, Mr. Tony Hinton. And normally today, Mr. Charles will be here, but he's out with his niece. They're doing the Disney on Ice today. So I had to let him go and let him do his thing with his niece. So hopefully he's having a good time with her, taking care of family as always. But so far, we hope you're having a fantastic Sunday and enjoying it the best you can. So I don't know what the Ravens are doing. Didn't see the game. I don't know if they lost. I don't know if they took an L or a W. But I'm sure somebody will let me know as far as that's concerned. Now, before we get started on today's show, I want to quickly give a shout-out to everyone who helps make this show possible, Mr. Ron Beezer and the entire One More, One Less mentoring program, which is myself and Charles and a few other people, but I'm the only one representing today for that piece. And our producer, DJ Big Nick, and the Mix Station Radio family. And let's introduce our guest for today's show, Miss Knicole Mosby Taylor, founder of Empowering Minds of Maryland Youth. She's been on this show like 3 times. This is number 3. So we always bring back our guests, and make sure that they have an opportunity to voice what's going on new with their piece. She's also the co-founder of Women in Business International, along with her partner, Miss Shakira Johnson is in the house.
Hello.
She's hanging out with us as well, and we'll be talking about both of those entities that are out there, organizations that are out there doing things with youth and empowering women in the same token. So we definitely wanted to get their thoughts on that and bring them in on that piece. So as we will always say, how are you ladies doing today?
We're doing good.
I am awesome.
Yes.
So thankful to be in the house today again with you guys.
Right. Third time round.
Yeah.
Third time round.
is a charm.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because Miss Mosby started out one of our first shows when we were at 1010 at 92Q, and then she finished out the last show that we did there. She didn't realize that, but she probably forgot about it. But she was the last guest that we had when we were over there. So even though we've been doing the show for maybe about a year and a half here at Mix Station,
Awesome.
we finally got her in because the 2 ladies here now have their own radio show and out there empowering women to the best of their ability. I have checked out a couple of shows, and they are bringing it to the women of Baltimore and those around surrounding country. I'm not sure if your guys' show goes out to the country as well.
Yes.
Okay, so they're hitting up the world as far as I'm concerned, but they're making really good progress with that.
Well, you know what they say, iron sharpen iron.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you go. So that's how that's going. So we're going to definitely thank you guys for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
so
you.
Appreciate that. So now, the Sunday Spotlight is about addressing the issues our young people are facing today and empowering not only them, but you, the listener, with the knowledge and resources to build solid foundations and a sense of purpose for not only our young people, but for you as well. And we're serious about our business. The Sunday Spotlight not only talks about the social issues facing our youth and our communities, we present the organizations, programs, and the people who are making a positive difference and changing the mindset of our youth and our communities, not just here in Baltimore City, but throughout the country. Now, the theme for October deals with trauma within our communities and amongst our youth. And our question of the day is, and hopefully you guys can grab, hope it's not too deep, I don't think it is, but I think you can definitely gravitate to this, and we'll be answering this question as well. What are some common symptoms a young person might display when it comes to dealing with trauma? Once again, let me pose that question once again. What are some common symptoms a young person might display when it comes to dealing with trauma? And DJ Nick, you can get in on this discussion as well. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Charles is out. I know you got some things to say. And, dealing with inner city youth like you do and working in different DJ programs and stuff of that nature.
You want to tag me in.
Yeah, you are. You got to tag. Okay, I'm going to tag you in. So definitely get in where you fit in. And I'll go from there. We also want to remind you this is a live broadcast, and we'll be streaming on various social media outlets like our own OMOL Facebook page, Mix Station Radio, Instagram, and various other social media outlets. Now, understand this. We want your input and feedback, so don't be afraid to hit us up and join in on our conversation. You can hit us up directly on our OMOL or our Mixed Station Facebook pages, or call us here at the station at 1-855-493-6499. Again, that number is 1-855-493-6499. So, let's get this show started. And remember, listeners, please feel free to join in the conversation. Once again, I'm going to get that number out again, and you may not like it, but I'm going to give it again. It's also at the bottom of the page if you're streaming live right now, so you can always call in whenever you have a moment to leave a comment. And that number again is 1-855-493-6499. So definitely get in where you fit in. So, ladies, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, and I'll probably start with you, Miss Johnson, because I already know what Miss Taylor going to say.
Oh.
So you're the newbie in the house, so we're going to start with you. So the question that we're proposing when we're looking at trauma, what would you consider to be a traumatic event when it comes to our youth? Now, I'm sure that the common stuff will come, but let's think a little bit outside the box. What do you think?
Wow, you obviously don't know my background.
Right.
So,
no, I don't know.
being a former educator and having the pleasure of serving Baltimore City for over 10 years, I had the pleasure working with pre-K through high school and special ed. And some of the things that I saw was low confidence, and some of the things that you just experienced, whether you're at the grocery store or even the lady on my block, I'm sad to say, there are parents out here who talk so negatively to their children, using all this profanity and down talking them, and pretty much demeaning them and causing emotional damage as well as mental abuse, and they don't realize that that's what that is. And so children who may be withdrawn, isolated, or just really lacking confidence in everything. They could be brilliant, honestly. They could be really skilled at what they do, but just being withdrawn and reluctant to share their gifts and talents.
Right, so the constant negative
Self-talk,
feedback and stuff like that, even when they're doing right, they're still getting that negative feedback, so it becomes an issue long term down the road. It's like, can I do anything right? Am I doing whatever? So you get that whole persona that they end up taking up because of that, right?
And it's so true what she's saying, because all of that is sort of like, you either build bricks, or, once that one falls down, then they all start to trickle
crumble,
down.
yeah.
And that's what happens with their self-esteem.
Right.
So,
Right.
When you have someone who's constantly telling you that you're a dummy, or that you're not going to be nothing, or you just like your worthless father, or whatever the remarks that they're saying, that they internalize that, and sometimes the child doesn't even realize that they're internalizing it, and it becomes baggage as an adult.
Absolutely.
But even with them being a child, she mentioned withdrawn. They become withdrawn. Their self-esteem diminishes, and then they don't care about anything. They don't care about their appearance. They don't care about, their schoolwork. Getting an education is not important. The important things aren't there to them, and it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Right. Do you think, like, the community plays a part in that, too, depending on what's going on in the community? So, like, if they're constantly seeing people harassed, or constant fighting, or constant murders within their community, does that play a part in it as well, as far as that
So
trauma
I don't know if you're
past it?
familiar with ACEs.
No. Enlighten.
So ACEs is adverse childhood experiences, and so the premise of ACEs is saying that from these traumas, then even the child's brain is shaped differently from that of one who doesn't encounter these type of traumas that we know that some of our at-risk youth encounter. So it affects their brain, let alone anything else. So affecting their brain, of course, is going to affect other functions, their way of thinking, how they think, what they think about. So it's sad to know and to hear that our babies are going through this, and they know what the cause is stemming from, and instead of being reactive, they're proactive. So they wait till they get in trouble and say, what can we do?
Right.
Well, they already got in trouble now. Not that we're going to give up on the babies, but still, let's be proactive and figure out how can we come together as a community to address these issues, come up with a solution so that these babies can have a successful future. You know, talking to youth who have experienced a lot of, you know, adverse childhood traumas, they don't dream. They don't have a goal. You ask them, like, what are you doing?
Affected.
Yeah, like you ask them, what are your plans in life? They have no idea.
Now, is this mostly teenagers that's talking about that? So, and also with ACEs, are they saying that percentage is like young children, like in the 6th grade below, or something like that? Because you're talking
children,
about
period. It's within that whole childhood, you know, from elementary
all the
or
way
not.
up. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe they were saying, because when you're saying it affects the brain, I figure the younger you are in that experience that you see, the more damage it's going to do, you know, stuff of that nature. Because I know it's not just a community. It could be anything. It could be the loss of a parent.
Right.
It could
That's
be
right.
Accident, medical type illness and stuff
or
like that.
domestic violence, seeing that domestic violence in your home, you know, being abused, childhood molestation.
Right, all those things, rape, you know, that constant, those constant things, yeah, definitely that.
And any major change. I mean, I remember being a teenager and we lost our house. And
financial changes.
Right, and so then having to move in with my grandmother. So we lost our house. We lost money for tuition, so I couldn't go to that private school anymore. And so for me, that was traumatic. And you know what I mean? So, and I was just, you know, early teens, you know, so it doesn't have to be something physical or things like that. But sometimes children don't have, they don't know how to adapt.
Right. So it can be psychological as well.
Most definitely.
You know? So the fact that you had to move and the fact that you lost your friends, you lost the community, and then having to start all over and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of military brats have to go through that on a regular basis, you know, but they adapt to it for some reason.
And why you think they call them brats?
Hey.
I like
it's
that.
a big
Because
it's two-sided story. It's two sides.
Like they go through so much that they might start to act out.
Right.
And so we as adults have to say, why are these children acting out? Like this isn't normal. You know, you go into some suburbs and you'll see that the children act differently. Why are they acting differently? Oh, because they have mom and dad sitting at the dinner table with them eating. They have mom and dad that can help them with their homework. Right. They have a computer
a full family.
And internet inside their home, so they don't have to go to a library to do a project.
Right, or a store or something, right?
It's a difference. Or, you know, in certain communities, unfortunately, mental health is looked upon in a negative way.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, for our children in typically like at-risk communities or in black communities, I'm going to say that, you know, going to a therapist is something bad. Right. You know, parents look at it as a negative.
That stigma.
They're scared that, you know, their child is going to be marked or labeled for life. So instead of getting their child help, they won't get their child the help from a therapist. They try every other avenue because they're scared that their child's going to be labeled. They don't want to go to a therapist because they're not crazy, not understanding that a person is not crazy because they go see a therapist. And in other communities, you'll see students as well as parents talk, oh, I'm going to my counselor today. Like it's nothing.
It's a norm.
Yeah,
right. It's accepted.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. How many CEOs do you know that's going? The majority of them. You know, you need that outlet. It's an additional outlet.
Right.
So, you know, just taking that stigma away from the negativity of counselors and, you know, just changing that narrative to our community so we understand it's okay to get help. Right. It's okay to have a therapist. It's okay to have that outlet to talk to someone and someone to provide you with those coping skills that's going to help you to change who you are or to change that negative thing about you.
Right. Definitely that. Definitely believe in that. So, like you said, the change in environment, psychological changes, emotional changes, like the loss of a parent, loss of a grandmother and stuff like that, that can affect, especially a young person, if they're close enough, that'll affect them on that level as well. And then, of course, we already know about the physical piece of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But what about the spiritual side of it? What do you think about that? I mean, I've only heard a few things about that, but we don't really talk about the spiritual side of it. You know, how you have some cults and stuff like that where kids get too far into that cult, and it's like, okay, this is acceptance, this is what we have, and then when they lose that, they're lost, and you have this like void in what they do. And I'm not to say that some of the teenage killings that have been happening in the schools have been from some psychological breakdown, wherever that may have been, spiritual or physical, I'm not sure. But it seems like the parents are in the house, or the grandparents are there. They have the family dynamic, but something else is going on. You know what I mean? Whether that be emotional, but I'm just wondering if it could be spiritual, because we don't really talk about that piece of it either.
Spiritual,
you know what I'm saying?
warfare.
So them just dealing with that. What you got, Nick? You got something?
I think on the spiritual side, a lot of people go to church for therapy.
Oh, at times.
Yeah.
At times, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah,
fix their problems. Instead of them just really looking focused on the problem, they figure, hey, I go to God, God gonna fix it all. But there's some things that you have to do also.
Well, you got to put in work.
Faith without works is dead.
Yeah, you definitely got to put in work.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to just hop on to this next question. We can follow through with that. So what are some common symptoms a young person might display when it comes to dealing with trauma? Now, I know sometimes it's kind of hard to see or detect, but I know there's some different things that you might see. Like you said, one of the things you did say was like their attitude changes. You know, they were one way. You know, they were that way for a long time. You always known to be a happy-go-lucky person. You're always into this, and then all of a sudden, they're not who they used to be.
Right.
Their whole demeanor has changed and
They
stuff like that.
isolate themselves from the family and friends. You find them being in their room most of the time, not communicating with anyone, withdrawn.
Being angry. Just
Yeah.
angry.
Angry all the time for no reason.
That-
Stuff of that nature.
Mood swings.
Not caring about anything. Themselves, life is like, you know.
So like emotionless.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like I don't give a damn.
Right.
Whatever happens on that level and stuff.
How
of that
about
nature.
them not cleaning their bodies?
Yeah.
Oh, hygiene stuff.
Yes, because I know that happens in my family. Like when we know somebody, they're not taking care, like really
not
cleaning
taking
their
care of
bodies,
themselves.
and you like, oh, you ain't taking no showers, no nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the hygiene starts to suffer in a sense. Well, I guess it falls
that happens
under that.
with
I
a lot
don't-
of boys. I don't know about females, but I know
It
with
happens
boys.
with females.
Females
too.
Oh, it's
well.
females. Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So yeah, so I know those are a couple of different symptoms that we can notice and stuff of that nature.
Sleeping all the time.
Yeah, that
sleeping or
depression.
not sleeping.
Right.
Right.
both,
Right,
actually,
or both, right.
Wet
Right.
in the bed
Definitely wet in the bed. It's definitely
at different ages. So you would think a teenager wouldn't wet the bed, but, you know, sometimes that.
Or even a 12-year-old, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah. So when we look at bullying, could that be also considered traumatic?
Oh,
for a lot of
yeah.
us?
Oh, my
No
goodness.
question.
Right.
I remember being, and I actually went to a private school. And I remember third grade, for some reason, really sticks out. And I had these long ponytails hanging down. And the girls would tease me about how my hair smelled because my grandmother would make this concoction and put it in my hair to oil my hair. And I, you know, always had long hair. And they would tease me about how it smelled. It smelled like tar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the girls would tease me. But, of course, after growing up and now looking back, I understand that they were jealous that I had hair and they didn't. But while I was in that space, the only thing it did for me was to diminish my self-esteem.
Right.
You know, and so it made me not want to go to school. You know, I remember very vividly, like running, jumping in the puddles on my way home, you know,
Right.
like trying to get drenched so I could get sick. So I just didn't have to, you know,
Deal
attend
with
school.
Oh,
right.
wow. Was that bad? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, you don't want to, you know, I didn't want to be there. You know, it just made you, you know, feel a certain type of way. They were really to the point where they did a lot of relational aggression, which is like isolating me. So the group would come over here, but then would leave me over there.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, in those instances, that does affect you because everybody wants a friend. Everybody wants to be able to talk to somebody, you know, play with somebody, hang out with somebody. So, I remember those things very vividly, and I just feel like our poor babies, because back when I was going to school, there's no social media, so I left it there at school.
I know.
So when I
that.
wasn't at school, I'm good.
Right.
But now that you have, access to social media, or a lot of children have cell phones, it's that constant, because they can text them. They can, text their friends.
A picture can go
so
far.
Yeah, and then
video. It's always there.
Something
never
always on social
up.
media.
Right.
Making posts about you, saying things. So now it's that constant 24/7. So could you imagine just constantly not being able to escape, to get away from that, that negative feeling?
So once again, that psychological piece is
Oh, yeah.
usually what affects
Emotional
most of
is-
us
yeah.
on that level, pretty much. Now I know it's kind of different for women in general and for girls and stuff like that, because when you look at what was that movie with Monique in it, where you talk about the light skin, dark skin issue. Did you guys have to deal with any of that?
I don't remember which movie that was, but no.
I forgot. But she had a daughter. She was kind of like abusing her.
Oh, Precious.
Precious.
Oh,
right.
okay.
But and there's some other movies as well
movie was
like
deep.
that. But I know when I was coming up, there used to be a light skin, dark skin thing.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Oh,
I know
yeah.
for girls that might have been a little bit more traumatic than was for guys and stuff of that nature. Did you guys have to deal with anything like that when you were coming through?
Yeah, I would say me and one of my daughters actually felt that, like, wanting to be a little lighter than what we were, until like for my daughter, I guess. So the reason why I started my program with Empowering Minds of Maryland's Youth really had a lot to do with my experience and my children's experience, and wanting so much more for them, and wanting them to realize at an earlier age how beautiful they were. And, I even had a group yesterday at Girls Who Brunch, and I got to do a workshop for 5 girls, and the one girl was saying, like, her family didn't really, tell her that she was beautiful, so she didn't feel it, nobody's telling her this, and, so for her, hearing it from me was like a big thing.
Right.
But I ran around the room and told each person in the room that you are beautiful, and I explained to them that just because you look different, or just because you're gonna look different.
Were you supposed
but
to? That's no choice.
The differences is what makes you beautiful and unique. So just luckily I was able to see it early on with my daughter. So of course, mommy always tells us she's beautiful, daddy tells us she's beautiful, so we don't count.
Right.
But you have to start to build up and work with them so that they can realize it within themselves.
Yeah, especially within the home itself.
Right.
What about you, Miss Josh? You ever face anything like that?
With the colorism, not so much. I know that I always... you have the white dolls, and they're always prettier at the time, because now they have some fabulous black African American dolls, but the white dolls were always prettier, and the hair was nicer, and so then you essentially like, oh, I want my hair to be like that. And I had a god sister, and she was Caucasian, and like, oh, Felicia's hair is perfect, and my mom got to like fight with the comb. So and I do remember a phase where I was like, oh, I want my kids to be light skinned, and I wanted to have a baby by Eminem and all that, but,
but she is not joking.
Trauma. Trauma in its worst form, right there, people, right there.
However,
Your views do not
reflect anyone in here but Shakira Johnson.
But to be teased because of my skin complexion per se, no, I can't say that I actually remember.
That's all. It's all good.
But the funny thing is that I have friends who were very fair skinned, and they went through the same problem.
Oh, opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they had issues with being very light.
Mm-hmm.
And people teasing them and saying things to them. So,
it goes both ways.
At the end of the day, we have to let each and every one of our children know that they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So which brings me to that last question for our discussion, which talks about what are some things people can do to help minimize the effects of trauma. So one of them was, like you said, taking the time to actually acknowledge their self-worth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know that would be one way. What are some other things you think might help in that process, you know?
I would say just getting our children involved in different programming, and being supportive of that programming. There are so many different programs out here for youth.
Right.
And unfortunately, if it's not a sports attached to it, then a lot of times the parents don't know what's going on with the program, and they don't
Or they don't
really
want to participate.
Right, they don't want to pay
for
for anything.
Right.
You know, but we have some really good programs out here nowadays that are helping our youth to build their self-esteem, to, like One More, One Less, like Empowering Minds of Maryland's Youth, Making of a Man. I could keep on going.
Yeah,
like,
the
you
list
know,
is
the
incredibly
project.
long.
Yeah.
Incredibly long.
And but it's about, guess what we're missing? The children. And guess what other part we're missing?
The parents.
The parents.
Like,
Most
we are
definitely.
doing the work for you. All we need you to do is to help support us. You know, tell somebody, help, you know, bring in some money. Give us $5 every now and then, because nonprofits need every dollar. Like, you know, we a lot of times circulate those dollars from our own pockets. And, you know, it's not fair to continue to not support the right things. You know, in our society, this is the way of our world, though.
Right.
You know, we rather see entertainers and sports athletes make more money than our president. Make more, not this one though.
Right. No, we ain't gonna count him.
We're not counting number 45.
Well, yeah, right.
I don't call him my president.
exist.
Right. Yeah.
He don't need to make nothing. But
Right.
But you know, when you put a certain value on an entertainer or someone like that, and you have people out here every day fighting for us and for our rights, and you know, they make it hard for the nonprofits and for even politicians. Like, you look at some of their salaries, some of the ones like city council people make like $60,000, but they're like always working 24/7.
Right.
You know, you have people, the delegates, making less than that. They make like I think in the 40s.
What, the state delegates?
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought they were making more than that.
No, and then but their lives is not that of which is a 9 to 5. So if they working a 9 to 5, then 40,000 is still less. But they're working like 24/7. So it's just disheartening to know police, teachers, administration, like the amount of pay that we put on them, and teachers are, you know, creating our future.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, people get tired. And I'm not making excuses for them, because at the end of the day, you come for a paycheck, so you need to earn it. But they get burnt out.
Right.
And,
Amen.
you know, that little bit of money that they want to give them is a way for them to get burnt out a lot faster than if they had a salary that was comparable to what they were doing for our youth
And what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's wild.
because they're the mother, the social security, the social worker. They're the everything to these children during that time period that they have them, and some even after.
Right.
You know, so
well, we definitely know our teachers are underpaid and overworked in some sense.
that whole school system, like,
and now
even,
that depends.
Even,
now that
even
depends
the
too.
principals. I mean, you look at it, and they make a little bit more. But I know principals that we texting like 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. You know, about what's going to happen the next day, what needs to happen, what you know. So. Excuse me. So what I'm saying is that we need to look at the whole picture. Like, we are saying that we rather be entertained, that we rather, you know, watch some sports than to pay people who are investing in our future. Right. You have people that put their necks on the lines for us every day. Police officers, firefighters. Why are entertainers making more money than them? Comedians. You know, I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, it needs to be, you know, and that's,
it needs to be balanced.
It's like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. What you got, Ms. John? Sound like you want to say something. What you got?
Well, So people do think that teachers are underpaid. I will say Baltimore City teachers are not underpaid. I will say that their resources are actually limited, though. So where they make up for it in the salary, they reduce it with the supply. So then they have to depend on the parents to donate this, and they send these long lists and things like that, and the supplies are limited. So I won't say that our teachers are not paid well.
They're not paid
Now, why
well.
you say that?
The
That's
teachers are
interesting
not
thought.
paid
I mean,
well.
because that's a little bit traumatic in my
Well,
opinion.
being a former educator, I may not have been a teacher. I was a para, so I was a teacher's assistant. I was paid well. And so seeing what the salaries were for teachers as well as for administrators, I do not think that they were underpaid. I just think that the resources were, I don't appreciate the fact that teachers should have to use their own money to fund a lot of the supplies and to get the things that they needed for their classrooms.
Right.
Well, I agree with that, but I won't agree with that the teachers are underpaid. If you look at their salaries, sometimes the teacher salaries are starting between like 40, 50, 70,000. That's not enough to say that you are going to be here with this child 8 hours a day, because because let's be honest, you got coach class. They don't get paid for coach class.
Well,
But the teachers stay to help to teach their coach class.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go home and they have to mark those papers, because they can't mark it while the kids are there. And not all schools build in that time.
Overtime.
Not
they're
even
working outside
overtime,
of that.
but they have the planning sessions. Teachers, that's not always built in their school day to have planning sessions, which means that they got to plan when on their own time. So you need to factor in all of the hours that they put in, and then you decide, you take that salary and say, is this really comparable to all of the work that they put in?
And the things
and
you
I
have
would
to
say
deal
that's
with.
negative.
I had some statistics on that one time before, but that was maybe a year or two ago. And when you look at Maryland as compared to the other states, Maryland is one of the Maryland, especially Baltimore City, is one of the most underpaid teaching avenues within the country.
I'm not going to say that they're
sure,
super rich.
but-
I'm just
but-
going to say that.
But you think
there
they're
are-
well
there are
compensated?
things- I will say that there are things in place so that teachers can always earn more. So whether they're taking professional development, or whether they get certain credentials and things like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a step process. So and they are required to have a certain amount of credits or whatever every year. And not
Was
to
it
mention-
tenure? Normally, if
you
they're
don't
tenure or
necessarily
something
have
like
to
that.
be tenured. No, it's
Okay.
just they're different. The way they structured it, which I admired, is that there are always ways to move up. So teachers can actually make as much as principals, just depending on their level of education and the
Certifications
and the credits and things that they've accumulated throughout the year.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the process of doing it,
Or the time.
wow, you're
Actually
still
find the
trying to,
time.
like, the majority of the teachers that I've run into are still being educated to this day, and which is a good thing. But guess what? When do they have time to woosah?
Right.
If you're in school and then you're working, teaching, and you're really doing what you're supposed to do, then it's no time for you to even relax or to let your brain just like
Right, deep.
yeah.
Right. Mhm.
So I mean, again, that means you being underpaid.
Right.
Right.
Which can lead to some traumatic, emotional, physical type stuff, because like you never have a moment or a break or whatever the case may be. So I was looking at some other things too. I think some of the other solutions would be time to heal. Pretty much,
definitely.
sometimes they need time to understand and accept what it is that they're going through and what they're dealing with. So they may need to take some time, and then sometimes they need to find out what happened, because when you go through that traumatic experience or something like that, you kind of lose train of what it was that actually set you off into that direction. Because you don't want to think about it, or the brain itself kind of puts it to the back of the mind, and you just can't pull out why it is I am the way that I am. You know what I mean? Stuff of that nature. And then, like you said, talking about it as well also helps.
Well, we had someone chime in on our live feed, and it says that our kids in Baltimore need anger management technique class offered in all Baltimore City schools. Successful resolution provides the services have for the past 17 years. And he says Successful Resolution have partnered with the students at Coppin to become mentors for disadvantaged youth. So again, there are certain programs out
There
here,
are.
but it's like, getting the children to come out.
Or
So,
even knowing about the program.
My
to be
children will
honest.
tell you, but my children will tell you, if I heard of a program and I felt like it was beneficial, it didn't matter if they wanted to go or not. You're going to go and you're going to have the right attitude while you're in there.
Yeah, well, that's you.
So,
that's you. But that's not most parents.
Can I
though.
ask a quick question?
Sure.
All right, back to the point when you were saying that a lot of the kids don't know about the programs. I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that Baltimore City should have a list of programs for the kids at the schools to give to the parents. All that should be in a bulletin given out to the kids.
Who going to get because the kids don't take that stuff home to the parents, and the parents
Right,
don't read the
and-
stuff that they do take
And,
home.
and
True
most
that,
schools don't
but,
have.
But
don't
you
have
got
it
to
in there.
try.
Well,
Most schools
saying?
don't have programs in there. It's up to the principal, and they're allowed a certain amount of money to actually
to
put
budget for the programs.
Yeah.
To come
and most of them don't budget for the
somebody
program.
got to do something.
They don't even budget for the
info
resources.
ain't given to them kids.
Oh, I agree.
The resources and the supplies, they don't even
But
budget
see,
for that.
the only time the children take stuff home is if it's
Report
beneficial
cards.
to them.
Right.
So
True
not
that.
even report cards. So like you gotta attach a day without uniforms, pizza day. If
But-
for the
but
class
the
they
school-
can't bring back the
Right,
most.
but they can do it on the email. You can email. You know what I'm saying? Everything's
So
on the phone
I'm gonna just
now.
say this: you're right in certain school districts,
Right.
but when you look in Baltimore City. We can't get regular phone numbers from the parents. They don't want us to
Right.
be able to reach them.
Even with
Unfortunately.
But I'm talking about the school can have an email newsletter, just a sheet that
lot
it
of
don't
schools
cost
do.
them.
But
but
nothing.
they do.
Do you
They
hear
do.
me, brother?
They
What
do.
I'm saying is the parents don't want to hear from the school at
Some-
all.
Right.
Parents
It's not the
don't want to
some-
hear from
right.
the school.
most. Well, let's put it like this:
Some
most
parents.
young parents don't
I'm a young
understand
parent.
that process. No, I'm saying.
I'm not gonna say young. I'm gonna just
I'ma say
some
young.
parents.
I'm just gonna say
I'ma
this.
say
I just
young.
started an
Always
argument.
take
That's
that
all good.
here.
All this mess is
All of-
dramatic, in my opinion. There ain't enough going on.
I just,
There ain't enough going on.
If the principals were allowed more, I would say more money in their budget, so that they could provide those resources. Some of those resources can take place during the school day. It's a little tight,
Right.
But when you set aside that time for after school, like if you can have those programs like Empower Minds comes in after school as well as during the school day, right?
We doing the school day.
During the school, even
Right.
better.
Oh, wow.
Empower
But
Minds
again,
of Maryland
that
Youth.
particular school
Wow.
put that in the budget. There
Right.
are so many
Oh,
incredible
the
Well,
our
it's the
programs.
school
same.
that we
It's
work
the
with,
same,
we work
right.
with Cherry Hill, Cherry Hill Elementary Middle, and let me say that this principal, Principal Garrett, is awesome because she provides them with so many
call her.
different
Oh, shucks, we
resources,
gotta call her.
so many different
Right.
programs. So that her students can be successful, and it's working. Like I see them, they're going off. Like she had, not last year, but the year before last, the majority of her children went to either Poly City Western or Poly City Western or Dunbar,
Right.
because they giving them what they need to be successful.
Yeah. So we got a caller on the line. Looks like. Caller, what's your name
sure.
and what's your comment or question?
My name is Arlene Kennedy, and I'm calling from Sierra Vista, Arizona. I know Knicole Taylor. I'm a former employee at Baltimore City Public Schools, and I'm also a superintendent in Arizona.
Oh,
and
nice.
I just really want to point out that this is more than just about mental health and about the stress and struggle of teachers. This is about accountability all the way around.
Absolutely.
Students will not have mental health issues if teachers do what they're required to do. Now, take it from me. I am a former teacher. I've worked my way up from substitute teacher all the way to superintendent. And we know the responsibilities of our jobs. Teachers are not well prepared for that responsibility now. Now it's real easy to become a teacher. You can just go through a summer school program, through all of these Get Teacher Certified Fast programs, and it does nothing for recognizing the pedagogy that's significant to supporting students that's having problems. We have a lot of programs that are available, and you're right. Children don't take the information home. Children don't utilize the information to the best of their ability. But keep in mind, they're children.
Right.
So we do have to hold the parents accountable, and we have to say to the parents, listen, you need to come in. I remember working in Charleston County School District in South Carolina where parents used to be fined for not coming to parent conferences. And this
Right.
is 1990s,
And we talked
early
about that.
2000s.
Yeah.
Now we do nothing. We're so busy
Right.
telling kids that as long as they come out and play, they get rewarded. We're so busy telling kids there's an excuse for why you're not behaving. We're so busy telling parents we understand all the social ills that are out there that can excuse you for why you're not doing what you need to do. The bottom line is education is the way to get out of all of our ills and all of our struggles. But if we keep coming up with excuses as to why we're not addressing those things, education is never going to change. Baltimore City is not the worst. Baltimore City may not be the best, but it's not the worst. It is indicative of what's happening across the nation as long as we continue to have all of these excuses and these acronyms that justify why children, and especially African American children, don't learn.
Right.
Somebody has to have that real conversation and stop glossing it over.
Right.
Because we're not going to get anywhere while everybody is trying to gloss it over. That's
You
all I
better
wanted
preach,
to say.
sister.
I done got
Nice,
goosebumps.
nice. Yeah, she called
You
it
can
out.
call it anytime.
She called it out. Now, there was one point that she did. Caller, you still on the line, ma'am? She's still.
I'm still here.
So you were saying the teachers need to do their job. What is it that they're not doing?
So I was a former social studies teacher, and let me give you a classic example because I'm very grassroots in the information that I share. History does not significantly change year to year.
No, it
If
doesn't.
you are fully prepared to teach history one year, the very next year, all you're doing is regurgitating the same information with updated information added to it. So they stop acting like you're spending 10 and 20 hours. If you do it right the first time, then the next year you're just adding and improving and changing what needs to be changed. You also have to think outside of the box. Kids don't come to school anymore because their parents said so. You have to engage them. I remember in South Carolina in 1993, I wanted to teach a lesson about the significance of slavery in the United States. And I stepped completely outside of the box and took my children to a plantation and taught them what it was like to pick cotton. Now, was that radical? Yes. But will they ever forget it? No. Now, was the intent for them to learn how to be a slave? No. But the intent was to make sure that they knew it ain't worth it. Do what you got to do to be educated so you will never have to be taken back the way.
Kind of showing them where we came from.
Yeah. And
exactly.
also, I just want to add.
Have to think outside of the box.
I just want to add that Miss Kennedy was one of my daughter's former teachers. So that's how I met Miss Kennedy. And she lit a fire for the class that she was teaching my daughter that I've never seen in her before for that specific class. Was it citizenship or was it social studies?
It was American government.
American
American
government.
Nicole, I'm actually Dr. Kennedy now.
Yes, Dr.
Shucks
Kennedy.
now,
Oh, she's Dr. Kennedy now?
Yes, Dr.
Oh, okay.
You always going to be my
Dion.
sister. So.
All right, Dr. Kennedy.
Right.
Understandable.
But my point is that if we find more teachers like her that will light the fire and make the children want to learn the information, because that's what all it is about, building relationships.
Absolutely.
Right.
And once you can build, instead of just trying to pass
Pass the
kids
buck.
off and pass it along and say, oh, these children, they're worthless, they're not going to get it, or, make it interesting, make it fun so that they can really grasp the information.
What do you say, ma'am?
The last thing I wanted to point out, if I may, we made a comment about Maryland and the salaries that teachers make in Maryland.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
do need to point out that as the superintendent of a school district in southeast Arizona in a county called Cochise County, starting salary in southeast Arizona is $29,000. So teachers in Maryland need to sit down and be quiet.
Right.
It's a whole lot more than $29,000. You got teachers out here in Arizona who have 3 jobs at a time.
Right. And
As a school district superintendent, I make $40,000 less than what I made working in Baltimore City as the superintendent.
Right.
And I was just a teacher and an administrator in Maryland. So it's really not about the money. Education is a divine intervention thing.
Right.
You come into it because it's about your heart, it's about
Absolutely.
your spirit,
Your
and if
passion.
it becomes about the dollar bill, you're never going to be successful. So anybody sitting there waiting on the dollars to come in, now don't get me wrong, I'd love to see the salary go up. But in the meantime, who's losing out while we're fighting over dollars? Cash doesn't necessarily rule everything.
Right. The kids are losing out on when you look at the whole bigger picture too. But when you also too with that, when you look at the amount of teachers that are actually out there trying to get a teacher's position, one of the things that they bring up, and that's today's generation, not the generation that we came in. We do have passionate teachers out there, but we would have so many more if they felt it was a career that will financially stabilize them, where they don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to provide for their family.
Right.
And I think it makes it hard when you're dealing with youth and parents that don't want to deal with the kids the way that they should be, and they come in reckless, and there's no longer that agreement or that teacher relationship. Even though you build it, it's not really there because they're still going to support their kid, whether the kid is doing wrong or not. So that's the whole generation that we're dealing with now. And it just makes it that much harder, to really want to be that passionate teacher, because every time you walk forward, you get slammed with a door in your face, whether it be from the parents, the kids. I mean, I was talking to Mr. Beasley the other day. He said some of the kids now have some type of form that they can have where they got to walk around for like 25 minutes every day in order to keep them, somewhat grounded. I forgot what the form was called, like a 419 form or something like that some of the elementary kids now have, which I never even heard of until yesterday. So I thought that was very interesting.
Are you talking about a 504 plan?
Yeah, but something I've never heard of that.
So,
Like what?
Yeah, that's just an excuse. And I promise this will be the last thing I will say. The other problem that we have in the African American community is that we bought into this foolishness of the other cultures. Because I remember telling a child one day that they were 5-0 full of what, when they can stand there and tell me, they can stand there and tell me my 504 plan says that if I'm angry, you can let me walk up and down the hallway. Not in this hallway here.
Right.
So we bought into, the things that other cultures have bought into, and our children are suffering for it. Because at the end of the day, a 504 plan is not going to get them a job once they graduate from high school.
Right.
A 504 plan is not going to help them get into college. All of these hindrances that we are allowing to happen is because we're not in control of our community anymore. If we stop trying to be like the Joneses and be the African American people that we were and always will be, we can get our children back, because I'm no better than any other teacher. I'm no better than any other educator out there. The bottom line is I haven't forgotten from whence I came. And you're not about to give me drama in my class, in my building. Even as superintendent, sometimes I have kids come to my office when they're being recommended for expulsion. By the time I'm done with them, I don't need to expel them. Listen, stop that foolishness.
Right.
Do what you need to do and recognize what the world has for you. Right. Now, they love me at the end of the day, and, even as a teacher, I never had a child say, I just hate Kennedy and I don't ever want to see her, because they knew where it came from.
Right.
So we also, once again, have to take back our community and stop trying to be like everybody else and get our children through the system properly. Because ADHD is just an excuse for you not telling your child, sit there, do what you need to do, get it done now.
Right. Absolutely. Definitely agree. Thank you so much for your comments, Dr. Kennedy?
Yes,
Dr. Kennedy. I want to make sure I said that right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you tuning in to the show. Definitely that. Hopefully we'll continue.
I didn't realize I was going to get through, but I was going to leave a message. Thank you.
No, we appreciate the comments. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to jump right into a break real quick, and then we're going to get into empowering minds of Maryland youth, and we're going to get into women in business. So we'll be right back with the Sunday Spotlight.
brothers got education. Now check it. You got your Wall Street brother, blue collar brother, telling you down for whatever, chilling on the corner brother, talented brother, and to every one of y'all behind bars, you know that Angie loves you. My
MI station.
Said I never hurt you, want you know that. Oh, brother, 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 my brother. There is no one I'm here for you.
All right. We're back. We're back in the place with the Sunday Spotlight. We're going to get ahead and get it in here and chat with Miss Shakira Johnson.
Well, hello.
And we're also going to chat with Miss Knicole Mosby Taylor.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, she stole my line.
She stole the line.
Stole my line.
So we're going to go ahead and get right into this because we're running out of time. But I want to make sure that they have some events coming up that they're going to be promoting. But I want to get a little bit of information about the programs that you're actually running. Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you decide to start empowering minds of Maryland youth along with women in business real quick.
So many moons ago,
Oh, yeah, right.
I worked as a security, a bouncer at a club. And
you a bouncer?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Taylor
You was
Kay?
a bouncer? What?
yeah,
I ain't know that one.
long time ago.
Okay.
I was a bouncer, and at the club, I was checking purses, and in the purses was a pair of underwear and a toothbrush. Mm-hmm. So coming from a kind of strict home, I was kind of naive. So I'm asking the other bouncers, I'm like, why do all these girls have a pair of underwear and a toothbrush in their bags? What do you think?
I ain't going to answer that question. They ain't planning on going home. That's all I know.
They was planning on hooking up, finding somebody in the club, hooking up that night and not going home. And so I was outraged. So, later on I had a daughter and, now I have three beautiful daughters. And I was just so outraged to the point where I really wanted to make a change. And dealing with the fact that I had low self-esteem at one point and had been bullied in school, just bringing it all together to help. I wanted to make a difference for girls, to help them to know that they were worthy, to help build their self-worth, to help build their self-esteem, and to get them to ultimately love themselves. And, what does that look like, right. Loving yourself, because a lot of them really had difficulties in doing that. I remember having a summer camp one summer, and I have a workshop that I do with my girls where we have to look in the mirror at ourselves.
Oh, yeah, and we've done that.
Yeah, and so this one young lady was having trouble looking in the mirror at herself. That's deep. She couldn't look in the mirror at herself. So once I realized that, I knew I had to give her a little extra love. I had to give her a little extra attention. So by the end of this 6-week summer camp, because that was the beginning, by the end of the 6-week summer camp, this young lady in particular, I had to keep sending for her in the bathroom, in the mirror, playing with her hair, looking at herself. Because we were able to change
her attitude. And
yes.
Right.
So sometimes it just takes somebody to care, to just reach out to them. So we talking about 6 weeks summer camp.
Right. to
Come
make a
on
difference.
now. Yes. That now this young lady is so successful. She is about 22 years old now. And I recently heard from her. She's living out of state, but she's doing wonderful. She went to school. She's about to graduate. She's doing her thing, and she had some other issues that we were able to help resolve for her. But it takes programs like Empowering Minds of Maryland's Youth to really help change their trajectory.
Right.
Because had she been continued to go the trajectory she was going, she wasn't doing well in school. She wasn't loving what she saw in that mirror, so she didn't even want to look at it. Now she's loving herself. She, was able to start playing volleyball after our summer camp in school, and just changing the way that she was thinking about herself, her life, and her goals.
Nice. So now, with the challenges that you had and the things that you had to deal with, did you decide to bring that into Women of Business?
Well,
Is that
no,
how
it's
you
two
started
different
that, or
Two separate
No,
entities.
was that
definitely
kind of the
two
catalyst?
different,
No, okay.
No, definitely two different entities.
So-
Yeah. So the Empowering Minds of Maryland's Youth is a nonprofit that I started back 2003, grassroots efforts right
Right.
in my home. I was a settlement agent making money, so I didn't even need any money. I just got a group of girls together and just started, giving
Doing
them
a thing,
different,
right.
yes. And out of that group, oh my goodness, nothing but greatness. And I was like, wow, they're really doing it. So they even come back and help with mentoring some of the
kids
younger.
that you have now.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Nice.
So it really works out well. I'm so pleased, and I'm so thankful that God chose me, because he kept coming to me in a dream, and he was like, look, you are supposed to do
Right.
this. And I was like, me? I don't even like to get in front of anybody and talk.
Right,
How am I
right.
going to do this, And he's like, look, you're supposed to do this. And I mean, he kept coming to me at nighttime until I actually said, okay, let me do it. And I still was scared to do it. So
Right.
what I did was I got a friend, and she would do what I asked her to do. So I'd be like, all right, let's do this. We're going to do it this way. And I was like, but then there come time, I'm like, all right, you do it.
Okay.
And so after a year of that, she was like, okay, this is your dream.
Right.
This is your passion. So here, I'm giving you your baby back,
Right.
because, I'll be here to help you in whatever way I can, but this is your thing. And so I needed that push in order for me to start doing what God had intended for me to do.
Right.
Which kind of does bring me to an event that we're having, but I don't want to get the two mixed up. So I'll wait and tell you.
We'll
how
get
that,
right into that right after this. So tell me a
Okay.
little bit about Women in Business.
You want me to tell you about this first?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So Empowering Minds of Maryland's Youth is having our second annual suitcase drive, and it's in memory of Dolores Hanson and Edna Mayford, which is one of our board members, family members. And we wanted to have the suitcase drive because I know people are like, what the heck is a suitcase drive? So you know how foster care youth go from one home to another
right.
with their items in a trash bag? We are sending them a message. We want to dispel the message that we're sending them that their items are trash. So we want to bless them with brand new suitcases so that these babies can roll their brand new suitcases with their nice items inside, from home to home. Because it's already different. I remember back when I was a young girl, and I would just go to spend the night over a family member's house, and I would have a ball and wanted to stay there, but something inside of me was like, nope, you gotta go home.
Right.
So, but when it would get later and later, I would just start crying and be like, I gotta go home.
Right.
This is not my house. I want my bed. I want to
Right.
be home where I'm comfortable. Not that anybody did anything to me. I just wanted to be home. These children don't have that choice.
Right.
So if we could just be a blessing to them just a little bit, by
form or
providing a
fashion,
brand new suitcase to them to help them to have something of their own, and that they can put their belongings in and feel comfortable
Right.
with, then that's what we're trying to do. So we did partner with a dentist office. They're going to provide us with teeth brushes and toothpaste and mouthwash.
Right.
to also go inside of the suitcases, but it's just a blessing. So if anybody wants to be a blessing to a foster care youth, we have partnered with a couple different foster care agencies, and this is going to be an amazing event. We're going to have light fare. We'll have a couple people speak a little bit, good music, and just come and enjoy yourself and bring that suitcase.
So you
want to
hold that flyer up real quick?
I sure will. It's going to be at Sangria Patio, October 26th from 3 to 7. And if they need more information, they can look at our website or reach out to us. So the website is www.empoweringyouth.usa.net, or our phone number is 1-888-41-MINDS, 1-888-416-4637.
Nice. So definitely check that out. We'll also post that flyer on our Facebook page as well. And we'll push it from there as well. So I want to get into with you, Miss Johnson, and tell us a little bit about women in business. And I know that Miss Taylor is a part of that as well. You guys have co-founded that particular business. So tell us a little bit about that and what you guys got going on.
So Women in Business International, our mission is to equip, educate, and empower entrepreneurs and professionals across the globe. So we do that through a variation of having a online directory, having a organization where we have a sisterhood. Taylor, feel free to chime in. we have a group online.
So since you mentioned sisterhood, I will share that. So we've galvanized a group of women together to create the sisterhood of us supporting us.
Oh, okay.
So it's so important, and especially you hear a lot of negative stigma in Baltimore about we don't support each other.
Right.
Well, we're going to dispel that crabs in a barrel, one woman at a time. So as they join our membership, we are welcoming them, we are loving on them, and, bringing them right into the sisterhood of, just supporting each other.
Nice.
Our target audience right now is startup businesses and women who are in business or business professional settings, and they're just looking for their purpose, or they need help finding their purpose and that push to keep going. We had one member who been in business for 10 years and got stifled in trying to find some new ways so that she can grow. Well, the benefit of being a part of Women in Business International is that we provide resources. We provide one-on-one consultations. We set goals with our members individually.
Strategic planning.
Definitely strategic planning. And then we host seminars, workshops, and we even have a brunch coming up.
But before you mention the brunch, I just want to say we also offer personal and professional development.
Most definitely.
So you help out with business plans and stuff of that nature, getting those things together.
Yes, and anything that we can't do, we do have community partners who will work with us and work with our members.
Nice. Now, in both of those groups, have you faced a lot of challenges with getting it started? Pretty much. I know you've had some challenges with yours initially, but with Women in Business, have you had any issues or problems or things that you were like, we got to get over this hump first before we can move here?
It's always about building awareness. Mm-hmm. So letting people know that we are here. This is what we do. So when we first started out, we may have had maybe 5 people show up when we do our networking. So one of the things we do is we always offer networking opportunities, because that's how we can grow and connect and collaborate and all those great things that we do. So we host Thriving Business Thursday. Usually it's the last Thursday of every month, and it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs and business professionals to just come together. And so when we first started, we would have like low turnout, and people really didn't know who we were or what we stood for. And so sometimes it can be challenging, because we are so passionate. We share this baby, we co-parent, and we want the world to know, this is what this is, and this is what it's capable of. And so sometimes getting the buy-in from people that we expect to get it from is like, ugh. But it's okay, because we realize it's not for everyone. Right?
So you say the business is new. How long have you guys been actually doing the Women
Since
in Business?
2016.
Okay, so about 2-3 years.
Yeah,
so far.
More like 2. It's like the end of 2016. It was more like an idea, and then we started, putting in the work.
Yeah, and it originally started as just an interactive Facebook group. Just you come on, you have questions about business, and you need some resources. But it wasn't as effective as we needed to be. So then we partnered up. We were like, okay, how do we bring this group to life outside of social media? And there we came out with Women in Business International.
Nice,
and it's amazing, because we have such a variety of businesses and business professionals who have made that decision to join. So we have currently about between 45 to 50 businesses within our network.
Okay, nice. So
Yes.
definitely share that with me as well, the network and whatnot, and we'll try to post some stuff on that piece as well.
Most definitely.
Especially if you guys are working with the youth as well and trying to bring them into the fold, that would be a good resource for us to be able to push out to them as well.
Gotcha.
So definitely share that information when you have some time.
Yeah, so a part of our initiative is offering a platform as well. So we have a radio show as well called Women in Business International Radio.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I was just about to ask you guys about that.
Yes, we cater
Right,
to
right.
the holistic woman. So being in business, we have needs, personal needs, professional needs. Advertising is one of those needs. So we've created a platform where business owners and professionals can come on and share about their businesses, their organizations, and the things that they're doing in the community.
Oh, nice. I'm waiting for the nonprofit one to come back around.
Well, we have been talking about maybe adding an arm, because we do have 5 core values, and one of them is advocacy. And the advocacy part looks different, so we want to give back as well as we want to go and eventually be able to provide resources for, helping to push legislation surrounding small businesses or women
Minority
business-owned
business,
efforts.
Right, nice. So with the program as well, so have you had a lot of young people come to you guys about
You keep bringing young into
We
it.
don't
and
cater
it
to
doesn't
young
matter.
people.
No,
It doesn't-
I keep bringing young
it
because
doesn't matter what age, because we have
Okay, that's
such
what
a
I wanna
variety.
know.
So I think right now the youngest business owner we have is maybe 22,
Right.
and then the oldest I would say
I ain't going there.
is
But it's a
no.
it's,
The only reason I ask is
it's
because
a
you
wide
have.
variety.
The only reason I say that is because you have a lot of young people that want to start their own business. They may be teenagers and stuff like that.
Well,
so
they
I
would
know.
be willing. They would be able.
So I know you guys. So I was just trying to find out and let our listeners know that you do work with them as well to get them started down the road to having their own business or entrepreneurship. That's why I was
so
asking.
definitely
that
we would
piece.
never turn them away.
No.
We
Right.
we do offer membership, which is a paid membership, and we would find resources to help them to buy into the program if that was something that they would want to do.
Right.
yes.
So.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking, because we all know some people that have some creative ideas and that could market into a great business. You know what I'm saying? But they may not necessarily. If I'm talking to that person, I want to know okay, wait a minute, women in business, they have something. Let me point you towards them. Even though they may be
Right.
16 or 17, they have great
Oh, yeah,
ideas and stuff.
sure.
But I
Yeah,
want
we
to
would
be able to
open
say,
mentoring, absolutely.
We would
hey,
love
talk to
to.
Miss
Absolutely.
Taylor or talk to Miss Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that you guys do
Definitely.
help out with that, because when you talk about business, you're talking mostly adults anyway. That's just my perception.
Well,
you
not
know what I'm saying?
necessarily. Like
No, a lot of
my
youth-
middle daughter started her business in middle school, and then my oldest daughter started her business in high school. So it could be any age. People are
Right.
starting to,
Right.
they're
right.
tapping into their passion a lot
Lot
earlier
sooner,
than
yeah,
right,
most
than
definitely.
we used to. So
Yeah, so that's why I want to be able to send them right to you. Like, hey,
We
Oh,
got
go
yeah.
talk to
You can
them, and
definitely
then at
send
that
them to
point,
you.
you can refer them as you need,
Absolutely.
But I want to be able to have a name or a business to put to them when I'm talking to them. Like,
Right.
okay, yeah, I know,
Absolutely.
I know 2 ladies that are
And
doing that right now.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
extremely
So-
important when you're first starting out a business to have resources to be able to ask questions and not be shunned away, or because it could be very discouraging when you first starting a business and you looking for a mentor, you looking for answers and things like that. So yeah,
Right,
we would
right.
definitely be willing.
Well,
to.
that's one
So-
of the keys about Women in Business International is that we don't feel like holding. You talk to some business owners and they kind of hold back. They don't want to share all their secrets because they're so scared you're going to steal it. But see, we know in Women in Business International that God put this in our heart. So anything that he gives us, he's going to make provisions for us.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter what we share, because you can go out and do the exact same thing, but it's not going to be Women in Business International.
Right. True.
So and people need to continue to think about that. Help one another. Because we believe that if we help one another, that us supporting us, we all will win in the end.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the event you guys got coming up in Women in Business real
Sure
quick.
thing. So on Sunday, November the 17th, right here in the city of Baltimore at the Gala Center, we are going to be hosting Passion, Purpose, and Pumps Brunch Edition. And our keynote speaker is none other than Mathana James Brightful, and she is the co-founder of Heal a Woman to Heal a Nation.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So that's going to be a pretty nice event.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We also will have a panelist of
Business owners and business professionals who will be able to answer questions and provide resources.
Now, this is for everybody, right? This is not
This
just for women only event, or is it just for women only? I mean, you can say it. It's okay. I mean, I'm all right with that.
Honestly, our target audience is women.
Okay,
so
well,
when we
that's
host
fine.
our networking events, men are definitely included, and we just honored men just in September. It was probably one of our best events this year, but this event is more geared to the ladies.
Okay, that's fine. That's all I need to know. That's all we need to know. So definitely that. But
So can I just say, one of the things I was talking about earlier that I said once we start talking about this, I would get to, was that, what we find is that once you find your passion, it'll lead you to your purpose, and then you walk it out in your pumps.
all right. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, yeah, that sounds really good, actually. So real quick, we got to go ahead and shut this thing down. But once again, let me just get some information. If people wanted to reach out to either one of your groups or organizations, how can we get in touch? We'll start with you, Mr.
Okay, so for Emmy, it's www.empoweringyouthusa.net or 1-888-416-4637.
All right. And Ms. Johnson, what do you got?
So for Women in Business International, you want to contact us, you can do so online at www.wbiradio.org. There you will find all of our information, and you can feel free to send us a message at any time. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter.
Well, there you go, people. There it is. There it is. And with that said, we've come to the conclusion.
Can we also mention our radio show so they
go
can
ahead.
tune in?
Yeah, go right ahead. Go ahead.
So we have a radio show as well every Tuesday starting at 8:05 on Awesome God Radio. So come and join us, Women in Business International. Again, it's on awesomegodradio.com, or you can watch our live stream on Women in Business International page
Via Facebook.
There you go. There you go. So hopefully you guys got that information. Like I said, they're doing it big, and you need to get in and get with it. These ladies are offering some great opportunities, especially for women in business, along with young people as well, young girls, and mentoring and all that. So definitely check out these ladies' websites and just get involved. Be a part of something that's going to be successful for everyone across the board.
And they're either a part of the solution or a part of the problem. So
True.
Which one do they want to be? That's
right.
that's the bottom line. But so the way we end our radio show, and the way that we end our events is by saying a quote, which is our motto.
Mm-hmm.
So do you mind? Could you
Yeah, you can send your quote, and then I'm going to
Okay.
finish this thing out.
All right.
Go ahead, real quick.
So individually we can do great things, but collectively
We can forever change the world by Nick Mosby.
All righty now. There you go. I know who that gentleman is. Haven't talked to him, man. I might have to call him up. But yeah, ladies, thank you once again for
Thank
joining
you
us.
for having us.
Yes, thank
Like
you.
I said, we've come to the conclusion of the Sunday Spotlight. We want to thank our special guest, Miss Knicole Mosby Taylor, founder
Thank
of
you for
Empowering
having-
Minds of Maryland Youth and co-founder of Women in Business International, and her business partner, Ms. Shakira Johnson, co-founder of Women in Business International. We appreciate you guys joining us today. We also want to thank Big Nick for tuning in and being a guest host. We appreciate that too as well. And the
Yes.
Mixed Station Radio family for holding down the Sunday Spotlight. And last but not least, we want to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in to the Sunday Spotlight Radio Show. If you would like to learn a little bit more about the Sunday Spotlight Radio Show and the One More One Less mentoring program, you can give us a call or check us out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/OMOL mentoring, or visit our website at omolmentoring.org. We're also looking for sponsors, so if you like what you heard and you want to get your business or organization or program out there and become an official sponsor for the Sunday Spotlight, or just want to donate to the Sunday Spotlight radio show or the OML mentoring program, give us a call. Now, just in case you didn't know, we are a 501c3 organization, and we have multiple sponsorship packages to accommodate any budget. And any donations that you make to the radio show / mentoring program is a tax write-off for you and your business. So don't be afraid to drop them dollars. It's okay. It's okay. So give us a call at 443-562-7455, and let's get you started on promoting your brand and supporting your business. Once again, we want to thank you for listening to the Sunday Spotlight. And remember, stay focused, and whenever you can, help our young people reach for the stars. Good night.
Mm-hmm.